Hi, everyone, and welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host, Pat Terrio. And you all know that veterans and military families are dear to my heart, having been a military spouse for 20 years. And you know, I always think about military families during deployments and even when they retire or when they get out and life after that. And so I have Mr. LeRoy Griffin Jr. here with the VA Hospital as a representative, and we're really going to talk about a very special program that he's the coordinator of. So glad to have you here, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Ms. Terrio. I'm glad to be here today.
Now, I'm so excited about this program that you're going to share with me along with the public out there, but I want to know a little bit about you first. I want to get a little background about you, and then we're going to go into the program, and I want to do some differentiations with other programs out there that some people might be familiar with.
Okay. Well, my name is LeRoy Griffin. I've been here at the VA in Dublin since June of 2006. I'm a native New Yorker. I graduated from New York University with a master's degree in social work in 1988. So the years are starting to move.
They are moving.
Yes, indeed. I lived in Augusta for 18 years before I got here in Dublin, and I came here specifically to work at the VA. And I've been the medical foster home program coordinator for the last 4 years now.
For the last 4 years.
Yes.
So you're a New Yorkan
Yes.
coming down here to the South. And tell us, I know you're a family man as well.
Yes, I am married. My wife, Anita Griffin, is a church musician here in Dublin, as well as in a few other churches. We have a total of 5 children with us, between us. And I am a devoted family man. I am a devoted fraternity man, and I love doing things in the community, which is one of the reasons I enjoy this job so much, because it allows me the opportunity to be out in the community.
Right, absolutely. And you're a cook as well. You
Yes,
like to
indeed.
cook.
Yes, indeed.
What's the name of that company?
G&G Catering. That's our pastime.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, now, so you've got all of this going on, and you're doing something that you're passionate about.
Yes.
This foster home program.
Yes.
I want you to tell us about that program.
Okay. Well, the Medical Foster Home Program here at the VA in Dublin is a program that's basically a placement program for veterans where they have the opportunity to be placed in regular homes instead of nursing homes. The concept behind it is that in the regular homes, the veterans may feel more a sense of home, a sense of family with the caregivers that'll take care of them, as opposed to a nursing home, which may have 100 or 200 other people there, other residents there, as well as 3 shifts of staff. Now, we all understand that nursing homes have a solid purpose and they do good, but the concept, again, with the medical foster homes is for people not to have to feel that they're in a large institution in what could possibly be the last chapters of their life.
Right, right. And, you know, I volunteer in the nursing homes here in Dublin, and I have family members that are in nursing homes and, of course, assisted living. And so for a veteran to get to this point of qualifying for your program, what criteria is that?
Well, basically, they have to have a chronic physical or emotional condition that would require them to need 24-hour care. And their doctors, a VA doctor has to make the determination that somebody needs the 24-hour care or cannot live on their own, will not make it on their own. And if that doctor was to feel that that veteran was to need a nursing home placement, that's where we step in and can be used as an alternative.
I see. And so, okay, so now you're talking about 24-hour care. So to actually have a caregiver, someone's home that's open and conducive enough to have someone come in and to be able to provide that, that's a lot.
Yes, yes,
And
it is.
so, you know, so what is the criteria for someone to be able to be one of those caregivers to open their home up?
The criteria for somebody to be a caregiver is they have to be at least 21 years of age. They have to have some sort of caregiving experience. Some may have just taken care of their own family members or volunteered in a hospital over the years. They have to be financially stable, meaning that they're not doing it just because of the money that will come in.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, indeed. We also request a background check because in this day and age that we live in, we want to make sure our veterans are safe and are with people that are not anti-veteran or anti-government. They have to live within a 50-mile radius of the VA here in Dublin or our office that's in Milledgeville. And they have to be willing to work with our home-based primary care team, which is an interdisciplinary medical team that follows the patient in the home, helps the caregiver to take care of the veteran in the home. And they have to also pass a house inspection where me and the inspection team come and make sure that the house fits the VA guidelines for safety.
You know, that's very good, because I think you have to be, stern and stringent about that, because there's so many people out there that do take advantage
Yes, indeed.
of the system, so to
Yes.
speak. And so I think this program is so wonderful and so necessary, just from this small portion that you have shared with me. How long has this program been in existence?
The program itself has been in existence since the late 90s nationwide, but it's just reaching its 4th year anniversary here in Dublin. And we are still reaching out here in Dublin and the surrounding areas because we actually need more homes here in Dublin. We currently only have one home in Dublin. And that home has 3 veterans. I think it's important for me to point out that each home nationwide, the national guideline is to not have more than 3.
Right.
Because then it starts feeling like a group home or a small institution. They have it set up to have just the 3, so it'll feel like family. And also, in order to have 3 in the state of Georgia, the homes must get a Georgia State Personal Care Home license through the Office of Regulatory Affairs, which is in Atlanta.
So the person has to be trained. Is there a type training that they would have to go through in order to be a caregiver?
Well, the main things that the person has to do in order to be a caregiver is to let us know of some training that they have had.
I see.
Show us some willingness, and let us know that they're willing to work with the medical team that comes in. Now, at the same time, if I have a veteran and I take it to a caregiver's house, and for some reason that caregiver is not comfortable with that particular veteran's condition and what that veteran would require, we wouldn't place that veteran there. We have to do as good a matchup as we can, and then the training will be ongoing for sure.
And you said there's only one home so far here in Dublin. What barriers have you been hitting with this program?
That is an excellent question. Some of the barriers that have been some of the individuals that have applied, unfortunately. Some have had some rather shaky circumstances where we can't put the veterans in place.
Right.
Sometimes we have a lot of people that just don't fill out all the paperwork. You know, there are a number of application packets that are out right now, and we're just still waiting on the paperwork to come back in. But of course, if somebody takes a long, extended time to fill out the paperwork, that kind of gives us some insight onto, the type of caregiver
like
that
a red flag would kind of come up.
Yes, indeed. And I'm in a position where I got to look out for the veterans, so I have to look out for any red flag that pops up. And sometimes we can go to the homes. I can go to the homes because I'm usually the first one. Right. And I'm not in the business of judging people per se.
But in a way, you have to.
Yes, because I have to look out for the veterans. I have to make sure that we're not putting them in a neighborhood that is flooded with violence or a lot of street activity. Can't put veterans in homes where the walls are falling in. Some people have good hearts, because we've had a lot of people that look like they would really be good caregivers, but the situation around them wasn't conducive to the safety of veterans. And we don't want anybody taking care of veterans that have the potential to abuse them in any way, any way at all, whether it's financially, physically, or emotionally. So at one point or another, all those different red flags pop up, and I have the professional joy of having to let them know, sorry, we cannot utilize you for this at this time. I wish we could.
Wow. And so that's tough.
Yes,
because there are a lot of people that have good hearts, but not necessarily, like you say, the proper surroundings for what the veterans need. And it is about the veterans, so you have to keep that in mind. And I want to differentiate between, there's another program for caregivers that I don't want to get confused with this foster home program. Can you tell us the difference between the two?
Yes, we have a program at the VA called the Caregiver Support Program, which is totally different from the medical foster home program. The Caregiver Support Program is a program sponsored nationally by the VA where some of the caregivers, which are usually family members of the veterans, will receive financial compensation for their time and effort in taking care of their family member, which is a veteran. Anybody that's interested in that program can simply call the VA, the main number 272-1210 here in Dublin, area code 478, and ask for the Caregiver Support Program. There are a lot of family members out there that are doing a great job at taking care of their veterans in their homes, and it's been very positive so far that the Caregiver Support Program has come up because it helps them to take care of the veteran.
Right. And a lot of people aren't even aware of this caregiver program that have veterans in their home and not realizing they could get some form of assistance.
Yes, indeed.
To help with that.
And I'm so glad that it has come up because some family members over the years have asked about it, and it's really still kind of new. And I'm glad that we have it here at the VA in Dublin.
I am too. This is an outstanding veterans hospital.
Thank you.
Of course, it's outstanding. And I want to get some feedback from you about how the veterans are as far as, are they responsive, to this program? How do they feel, about this program? Can you give me any insight onto that?
I surely can. I surely can. The veterans that we have currently in the Medical Foster Home Program here in Dublin, as well as our home that's in Kathleen, are all doing very well, and they all have absolute positive things to say about the program. They're very motivating to other veterans if we bring them by to tell them about the program, and they are all doing so much better than they were before they were placed. Some were in nursing homes, some were living alone, not taking their medicines, not eating. Now, at the same time, since it is voluntary per se, if we have a veteran that is competent, if that veteran was to state that they were not satisfied and they wanted to leave, legally we can't hold them there.
I see.
Because this is still America and we have choices.
Right.
So we have had a couple of veterans since the program opened that decided, I'm okay, I don't need this. And a couple of times have had some unfortunate results per se, but still, for the veterans that may not be considered competent, they are the ones that seem more complacent because it becomes more of a home to them.
I see.
But it is still their choice if they're competent. And all we can do in a circumstance like that is urge them to make our recommendations, but we cannot make them stay.
And so for the one home that you have right now, how is that? They've got 3 veterans in the home.
Yes.
Do you allow, or is it customary that you have children in the home or no children in the home? Which do you normally prefer when you have someone wanting to be a caregiver for this program?
Well, actually, right now, the home that we have here in Dublin does not have any children. The caregiver has some grown children that are out of the house. But if we have a caregiver that has family, whether it's a spouse or young children, we encourage that. The home that we have in Kathleen has a teenage young man that is in the home, and he is part of the help. He is part of helping the veteran to realize that he is now a family member, and it helps tremendously. But whenever that comes up where there's children or spouses, we have to talk, or I have to talk primarily with that caregiver to make sure that they have discussed it with their family member to the extent that everybody is comfortable and don't feel like it's an invasion of their home.
Absolutely. And, I love, being around veterans and just hearing all the different stories, because I know at the hospital, there's so many from you have a lot of Vietnam veterans there, and some with the OIF 1, 2, and 3 and different things like that. And so I think it's important to have a program like this, to offer it. Because they've experienced so much in life, and some have developed some mental challenges from the things that they've witnessed and experienced, and some physical challenges. So to have a program like this in place, I think it's fantastic.
Well, it is, and I'd like to touch on the financial aspect, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Because it is good for everybody to understand how the caregivers are compensated. The caregivers may receive anywhere between $1,600 to $3,000 a month per veteran, based on the amount of care that veteran needs.
Right.
And we assess that with the department at the VA before somebody is placed. And then annually, there's a checkup to see how that veteran is doing, to see if their status has either improved or gotten any worse, and we would adjust what they have to pay if necessary. So that is something I have to work out before anyone is placed also, because we have to make sure that the veteran has the money to pay for it.
Right.
And what we do is we help them to apply for medical foster home aid and attendance through the pension office at the VA. What that is a financial benefit for veterans, particularly to pay for long-term care, in this case, medical foster home. So if I come across a veteran that say that they only have Social Security, $500 a month, and
Right.
a VA pension, $800 a month, so they don't think they could pay the $1,600 or $1,700, I let them know that we will help them to apply for the medical foster home aid and attendance, and hope that the pension office will approve them. Now, luckily, everyone that I have
Right.
helped apply so far has been approved. But because it comes from a different office, which is the pension office in Philadelphia,
Right.
we're never absolutely sure until we see it in writing.
I see.
But luckily, every time we've seen it in writing.
Well, that's a wonderful blessing. So the veterans are paying for this
Yes.
care themselves.
Yes, they are.
Out of their monies.
Yes. And for the veterans that would otherwise go to expensive assisted living
Right.
facilities or other living arrangement, it is actually cheaper
To do this program as opposed to
going to, for nursing homes as well as assisted living facilities and some even group homes. This
I see.
actually comes out cheaper for them.
I'm glad that you said that, that you pointed that out, because, some of those programs are very pricey.
Yes, indeed.
Because of the amenities and, of course, the care that it is required.
Yes.
And so if a person is a caregiver, I know with the military system, as far as them having to get meds for, let's say, the veteran's not able to get the medication themselves, would the caregivers themselves have some type ID card, or how would they do that?
Well, because of the fact that the veterans are followed by HBPC, which is home-based primary care, they have a nurse as well as a doctor that prescribes their medications and gets it to the home every month.
That's
and
wonderful.
then the caregiver can supervise them and make sure that they take their medicine every day.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Listen, we're going to take a break, but I want to, when we come back, we're going to talk about some other programs that the Veterans Hospital has, and also some of the things that you're involved in as well.
All right.
We'll be back in just a moment. I'm here with Mr. LeRoy Griffin, Jr.
I'm Leona, and I'm Dr. Vega's patient. About 6 months ago, I received a pacemaker, and I'm thankful to God that Dr. Vega did it for me. I had a doctor's appointment the day that I came into the doctor's office, and I was sweating profusely. And when I got to the office, the ladies realized something was wrong with me. I just was exhausted. I was so tired. So they rushed me in the back to see the doctor. And as they took my blood pressure, they realized that my heart rate was very low. So they immediately took me over to the hospital, to Fairview, and they did a temporary pacemaker on me because the doctor had to order the pacemaker. The next day, I received my pacemaker. From that time until now, I have had no problem with my heart. My heart rate is very good every day. My blood pressure has even improved, and I am so grateful to Dr. Vega. He's a great doctor, and I love him.
And we're back here with LeRoy Griffin, the medical foster home program coordinator here at the VA. Now, you have given some wonderful information about this program, and I hope that you all are understanding what this program is, the importance of it, and if you are interested in being a caregiver, what you would need to do in order to be a part of this program.
I concur.
Now, what else did you want to add about this, about the foster home program that you have not touched on already?
Well, the main thing I'd like to add about it is that, again, we do need more homes here in Dublin. And I say that a number of times, but one of the main reasons is that because of the fact that the VA hospital is here in Dublin, the majority of the times that I talk to new veterans that are referred for it, they are requesting to be placed in Dublin or as close to Dublin because of the fact that the hospital is
It's right here.
Now, the caregiver has the responsibility of bringing a veteran to the hospital if necessary. So transportation is covered also, but still the veterans seem to have more of a degree of comfort feeling that they are closer here to the hospital.
Absolutely. What do you think are some of the apprehensions about people not wanting to be caregivers or choosing not to, or what's kind of hindering some that may be teetering?
Well, it's my thought process that, first of all, people have to really have it in their heart and be willing to do it. And I understand that that's not something that everybody has for whatever reason. But some of the other things, I think that people have clearly indicated that they have a fear of somebody getting hurt or sick while they're in their care, or that they're going to be accused of doing something wrong. And when they're thinking on those terms, you know, that seems something more honest, in the sense that if they're not comfortable, we really wouldn't want them to do it anyway. And some of the other individuals have really basically stated they thought it was something that they should get paid more for. But, you know, we let them know that this isn't necessarily set up to be a job per se. This is really a service to our veterans in our community. So people will tell me different things from time to time, but I think that the main thing people have pointed out to me when I've talked to people is that they just don't know if they can handle it. And, you know, would never pressure anybody that says that, because if they can't, there's no sense to try to push them.
That's true, and it's an honest assessment, because you're talking about these are adults.
Yes,
and
indeed.
who are some are strong-willed.
Yes, indeed.
You know, as most of you know. And so that is a heavy calling. But I think that you have to have a passion for it and a heart for it.
Yes.
Now, you have a heart for veterans.
Yes, I do.
Now, how did that come about, you having such a heart for veterans and working with the VA hospitals?
Well, you know, my years in Augusta, I was the director of social work at the Georgia War Veterans Nursing Home for many years. And I worked in a couple of hospitals before that, where I always served veterans, and I also have veterans that are in my family, so it was always there. But I think during my years as director of social work at the Georgia War Home in Augusta, that it was really consolidated, and I got associated working part-time with the VA hospital in Dublin, because I'm sorry, the VA hospital in Augusta. And because that's where we would get our veterans from at the Georgia War Home, and it just kind of all came together and culminated with me being here in Dublin.
And you know, and I get such an overwhelmed sense of pride. For me, I think having been an Army spouse for so many years, and working with military families, and going to the veterans hospitals, and meeting veterans and things like that. So I'm overwhelmed with pride, and I'm very pleased at this program that you have. Now, there's some other things that you're involved in, too, with the VA. What other programs do you have?
Yes. One of my other titles is I am the EEO/Diversity Co-Chairperson. And basically what that means is we have an EEO manager at the VA, Miss Audrey Andrews, that deals with employee-related issues, sometimes dealing with human resources. But the diversity side, which I work with, is I work with different committees throughout the year, putting on educational, diverse programs primarily for the veterans, as well as for the employees, but also for the community. And those programs include the Native American program, the Hispanic program, the Black History program, the LGBT program, Asian Pacific program, as well as women's rights and women's health programs. So all through the year, we're doing these diversity programs. And the purpose of them is because of the fact that we live in a diverse world, in a diverse country. Our veterans are very diverse, and it's important for all the staff to have a good understanding of everybody so that we can be able to relate to and help everybody. And so just about every month, every other month, we have another program going on, and whoever is in charge of that program, I'm working with them to make sure that we have a good program that's going to educate the staff, that's going to educate the community, as well as educate the veterans.
Oh, that's great. So how's this been going for you, the EEO program, and as far as being inclusive and also making sure that your programs are showing that diversity, that diversified light that you want it to show?
Well, considering I've been doing that now for about 6 years, it's been going absolutely fine. Our next program that we have coming up in May is going to be the Asian Pacific program. And in June, we're going to have the LGBT program. And it just keeps going and keeps coming, and I enjoy it very much.
And what I think that, what the Veterans Hospital is doing, and then all of the different programs that it's offering, I mean, because like you say, we are in, soldiers and sailors, Marines, airmen, it's such a diverse pot.
Yes, indeed.
And
yes,
I
indeed.
think that after, that the Veterans Hospital needs to show that.
Yes, indeed. And for example, with the LGBT program, that this will be our third year with doing it. At first, it was it needed to be clearly defined and what the purpose was with it. But the truth of the matter is, some of our veterans may fall in the LGBT demographic or category,
Right.
And we want to make sure that all the staff is as knowledgeable as they can about what they may be experiencing, so that when they come for services, we're able to focus on their needs and not the fact that they may be considered LGBT. So that the main purpose of that program is to, again, get the staff in a better position, a more educated position to work with the veterans. And it goes for all the other programs that we have.
Yes, Asian Pacific is coming up.
Yes, indeed. And we are still trying to reach out more to the Hispanic community here, as well as the Native American community here. And that leads to the other part of my titles,
Right.
which is the Minority Veterans Program Coordinator. My role as the Minority Veterans Program Coordinator here at the VA in Dublin is to reach out to the Hispanic population
Right.
here, as well as the Native American population here, for the veterans primarily, to let them know that if they are a veteran and they fall in that demographic, that they need to come to the VA to get the services that they deserve, and that they also need to come to the VA to apply for jobs as well as careers.
So how's that minority program worked out? How's that been going?
Well, my efforts continue, because the
Right.
truth is, here in Dublin, it's not really a very, very large, significant amount of individuals in that category that I've been able to get in touch with. But I am trying, and we're trying to reach out to them the best that we can. Recently, I spent the day in Atlanta at a mall called Plaza Fiesta.
Really?
Which is a mall that is dedicated to the Hispanic community there. And I was able to spend the day and talk with the Hispanic population to let them know about the services at the VA here, as well as the one in Atlanta. But I also tried to stress to them that if they have any friends or family here in Dublin, we want them to come.
Right. I love that outreach that you're doing, because I think that's so important. You touched on a few things about how the VA is all about making sure the employees are educated enough in order to work with different diverse populations.
Yes.
And the outreach that you're doing, I think that's so important.
Well, it is, because we need to be seen. We need to let it be known that we are reaching out. And I just love doing outreach personally, because I love talking with people. I love being in crowds of people, whatever's going on. So I'm really enjoying all three of my roles.
I definitely can tell. I can feel your energy about it and your passion about it. And so what other things are on the horizon with your programs?
Well, in addition to increasing the medical foster home program here in Dublin, we're
Right. also
also looking to increase in the Macon area and the Milledgeville area and the Swainsboro area. As far as the EEO diversity programs are concerned,
Right.
we have these programs coming up, and our Office of Public Affairs will be putting news releases out. We want the community of Dublin to come out and share in these programs. As far as the Minority Veterans Program, I am going to do everything I can to reach out to the Native American population in this area, the Hispanic population in this area. I will be there. I may have some other people from EEO with me, and we're going to do everything we can to get them to come in,
Right.
get their services, and apply for jobs.
That is wonderful. Well, listen, I certainly appreciate everything that you're doing with the VA. In the walls and outside of the walls,
Well, thank you.
in helping veterans and servicing veterans. Listen, that's about all we have time for today. I've enjoyed LeRoy Griffin Jr. from the VA Foster Home Program. You've been wonderful. I appreciate everything that you're doing and the staff that's doing at the VA. And I'm certainly thankful for all the veterans we have here in Lawrence County who have served and who are still serving this great nation. So thank you all for joining us, and please keep watching.
And thank you so very much for having me.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.